Well, hello everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome to our very first We Are Here For You student forum. It's an opportunity for us to really provide a moment for us to come together, focus on questions that have been submitted by our students, address any and as many concerns as possible. I don't know if we'll be able to get to all the questions that have been submitted or that are shared throughout the chat, but we'll do as our best as possible. One of the things that I do want you to know is this is being recorded so that we can put it on our Pierce College YouTube channel. And then any questions that might come up or are left unanswered, we will go ahead and make an attempt to give responses and provide responses and then upload those to our web pages, especially given the fact that we might have some very specific questions that might pertain just specific to you as a student in terms of a process. What we would like to do is address on a very global perspective responses as to how we're moving forward, how we've transitioned into this online process. In terms of the agenda, we will, oh, and I apologize, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Dr. Juan Carlos Astorga. I'm the Dean of Student Engagement. I have the real wonderful opportunity to be here working at Pierce College. I work in the Student Services Division. What we're gonna do in terms of an agenda, just so that everybody understands how we're doing this, is that everyone is muted. We will unmute as we provide an opportunity for certain individuals to speak and to address. We have invited students to submit questions for the last 3 or 4 days. We've called those questions and then directed them to specific areas. So we will be getting some words of address by our president, Montevirgen, from the college, and then our ASO president, Vivian Yee. I will address a little bit on just how do we practice some self-care and be a little more gentle with ourselves and as we're in this process together. We will then move forward to talking about the questions. They are going to be separated by academic affairs focused questions, and our Vice President Sherry Berger will be addressing those. Then we'll move towards the student services focused questions, and those will be addressed by our Vice President, Dr. Eric Dixon Peters. And then we'll talk and move forward with some business continuity, bookstore related questions, and those will be addressed by our Vice President, Ross Schleicher, as well as our Associate Vice President, Bruce Roski. After we've done those, we will ask Ross Schleicher and our President, Montevirgen, to just talk about our COVID-19 response, where we're at with our moving in this direction, moving forward, what will that mean? And then once all of those have been addressed, we will then move to addressing questions that you submit via the chat. With the thumbs up, are we okay moving in that direction? Sounds like a plan. Well, President Montevirgen, would you like to take it away?
Yes, thank you, Dean Astorga, and good afternoon, everyone. Again, this has been a new normal. I don't know, for many of our students, I keep referring to getting used to the whole Brady Bunch way of coming together. I'm sure many of our faculty and staff can probably relate when I say that, but many of our students are probably saying, what? What does he mean? But that's just a reality of the way things are. But again, I want to first hope that each and every one of you are healthy and safe and doing well. I want to thank you all for your willingness to continue your educational journey with us here at Pierce College, and know that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we continue to provide you with, through our remote operations, the opportunity to continue in your studies, to continue in your programs and your degrees, because I think that it is so important, especially during the difficult situation that we're going through, that we provide some level of continuity for each and every one of you to be able to continue your studies, and know that this is something that we view as our primary role in terms of wanting to make sure that you continue to be healthy, safe, and well, and that you're able to continue your studies with us. So I know I thank you as our students for continuing to work with us. I know that many of you continue to have questions, and that's one of the reasons why we're having today's student forum, because we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to address some of those most important questions and most general questions, but that we also provide you with resources and ways where if you have questions after today, that you'll know how to get a hold of us. You'll know who and where you can go to in terms of making sure that those questions continue to be answered. So with that, I just want to not only thank you as our students, but I want to thank the faculty and the staff who have also joined us today. Many of them have been working tirelessly to try and make sure that behind the scenes, we have been able to transition as many of our classes as possible to online. I want to especially tip our hat to our faculty because in particular, they have worked tremendously hard to try and make sure that they are able to offer you with continued instruction in a remote learning environment. And lastly, before I hand it off to Vivian, I want to thank Vivian, your ASO president, and the Associated Students Organization officers for all of their work in terms of continuing to try and provide you as students and us as a campus with an opportunity to still come together and to still celebrate community with one another. Many of you, those of you who are in particular, who will be graduating, we want you to know that there is information coming out shortly about how we will be continuing to hold a virtual graduation recognition ceremony for you on June 9th. No, it will not replace a physical graduation where you will get to walk across and I'll have an opportunity to shake your hand and present you with your diploma. That is something that will be part of our reports later on, but I want to let you know as our graduates that while we will be providing you with this virtual recognition ceremony on June 9th as a way to mark your milestone and to acknowledge your achievements, the plan is that we will, as soon as we are able to, and the plan will be to still hold an in-person commencement ceremony to provide you all with a physical opportunity to, again, walk across that stage. But again, it is no short order what all of you as students have been going through in order to get to where we're at. All I will say as your president is that I have never been prouder to be the president of Pierce College because of the way that the faculty, the staff, our community, and you as students have come together to continue pushing through. And again, we may have just another month left in the semester, but know that this will be a full semester. I believe ASO elections will be taking place next week, so make sure that you exercise your right to vote. That you participate in many of the things that we will be planning, and that life does continue, albeit in a remote environment, but we are here for you at Pierce College. So with that, again, I want to turn it over to Vivian and thank her and thank the ASO for being such great partners with us on the campus in terms of how we have been working together during this COVID pandemic situation. So Vivian.
Thank you so much, President Montevirgen. We are so fortunate that in this time of immense need, we have a college president who is so hands-on and who really cares and listens to us. I just want to give a huge welcome to all students, parents, faculty, and administrators for joining us here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here for our very first online student hall. It's been about 2 months since our lives have been completely disrupted by this pandemic. But despite this virus crisis, peer students have mostly continued on in classes and are doing well because we are resilient and strong, and we are here for you. And I know that we are going to get through these tough times at Pierce, and we're going to continue to move into a future that is super bright. And it is mainly because of the great leadership that we have in all of our departments, everybody who cares and listens to us so much. We have such a great, I'm so thankful to Pierce College for just being here for all of us students, just providing us with all of the services we need, just really being here for us. So thank you, and I really hope that all of you have a great time during this We Are Here For You Student Town Hall.
Thank you, presidents of Pierce College, both ASO and the college. I want to take a moment and just thank Nicholas Sumandro for doing our sign language interpretation. And if anyone else is going to be assisting him, I really appreciate your willingness and your support. I did want to point it out so that if any of you are in need of seeing that, please look for Nicholas Sumandra on the page, on the one of these 5 pages that I see, as we have now about 120 participants. As both of our presidents have said, we are incredibly dedicated to trying to do whatever we can to ensure your academic success, your continuity, and your journey through this transition that we're going through. I've asked Jeremy Mason to just quickly put up some self-care tips that as he's putting up the slideshow and going to the start, we have an incredibly strong student health center that allows us to provide therapy and support for our students. And one of our campus psychologists, Dr. Niaz Khani, was asked by myself, how can we give information to our students on how to practice self-care, how to be a little bit more kind and gentle with ourselves as we are hunkering down, you know? The idea of trying to just stay in one location it can be kind of overwhelming. And so her recommendations are really to, you know, while being anxious during this time is completely normal response to the stress of all these challenges around us, don't forget to breathe. Practice taking and inhaling 3 times, 5 times, multiple times a day to help calm our nervous system. Exercising is an incredibly, you know, powerful way of practicing and maintaining some self-care, going outside, taking walks, engaging in stretching exercises that can help us relax, boost our mood, help us manage our stress levels. Also, getting enough sleep and trying to keep our sleep patterns as consistent as possible. Remembering that we must maintain social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. We cannot disconnect. We must make an effort to increase our connections, reaching out to our friends via families, phones, video calls. I will tell you very, very honestly, I blow bubbles. You know, it will allow me to genuinely control my breathing patterns, lets me really think about what are my current worries. And as I exhaled to blow those bubbles, I release the worries to the universe so that it doesn't have to stay within me. And that's really incredibly important for us, you know, that as we're moving forward, we can end up having cabin fever if we're not creating some intentional self-care tips for ourselves. So I'm hoping that you take these into consideration. Don't forget to reach out. Don't forget that we are here for you in whatever way that we can, but please know that you have a support system for us. Following, the next step is that I would like to invite Dr. Sherry Berger to please be ready. We're gonna unmute you. The next 3 slides are for you, Sherry.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. I appreciate it. I wanted to take a moment first before I start by thanking all of the students who submitted questions in advance so that we can address the concerns that were coming through at a broader level. And so thank you very much for doing that. I've tried to cluster those questions. Some are specific and some are general to be able to address the different concerns. So the first concern, this is a spring classes slide. What is happening with the spring classes that weren't able to move online? There were several classes, some welding, some of our vet tech classes, nursing, some of our industrial technologies, and you know, we weren't able to complete the course. You know, we have a class every course 1 hour in person at the end of the semester. So we are working, we don't have an answer yet, but right now we're working with discipline faculty across the district to come up with a plan of how we might bring people back, possibly in the summer, on campus in order to get those classes completed before the fall semester begins. I don't know what that looks like because we don't have all of the plans, but it will require that we have physical distancing and safety and cleaning protocols in place to ensure the safety of all of the students, which is our utmost priority. The district should be sending out a communication within the next couple weeks to students that are impacted by classes that weren't able to go online. So be on the lookout for that. The second question was about common finals in math, and they're going to be held online at the scheduled time that was printed in the final exam schedule and should have been in your class syllabi. Faculty will be sending students information about the details about what can and can't take place. So more information will come as we are approaching the final exam week in the first week of June. The third question has to do with the TEAS nursing exam, which is for incoming students. And this exam is actually administered by an outside entity called ATI. And it was only very recently, I believe in the last week or so, that they approved options for how that test can be administered through online options. And so the nursing department, with the nursing director leading them, is working through those plans to see how we can best implement the TEAS exam in that online environment. Once we have information, applicants to the nursing program will be notified about the process and when the test will be given. Next slide, please. In summer classes, there was a lot of questions about how summer classes would be conducted and if there's going to be anything in person. So the answer is, for summer, the summer classes will all be offered online. And as I previously mentioned, if we're able to bring anything back in person in the summer, it will be to finish out the spring classes that couldn't be converted. The classes will be accessed through the Canvas learning management system. Even if there are resources outside of that system, all students will be going through that system initially. And we have, if you've taken a look at the summer schedule, you may notice different room locations and different notes. And so there's three ways, I guess, that instruction is going to be delivered in summer. And this will also be true for fall. So we have our originally scheduled online classes, and you would see them with a room location of P Internet. And those were always planned to be online classes, and they have no live instruction. We have another group of classes that also require no live instruction that we were originally planning to be in person. And they will have their days still there. They'll still be listed, like for example, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:25 or something. But if you look at the location and it says P online, and it'll say online, no live sessions. And if you read the note, it'll tell you to ignore the days and times. And those classes will have no required contact at any of the scheduled times. But for reasons that dealing with the state, we need to leave those days and times in there. And then the other two options is that either all or some of the instruction will take place during the scheduled time of the class. So there'll be some live instruction, either every day at that scheduled time or at specified days. If we know those days now, we're putting them in the notes. However, if we don't, then the instructor will alert you to what those days are. It may be not for as many hours, so it still may be every day. Different instructors are handling this situation differently. But those are the ways that we're going to be conducting the instruction over the summer. If you've looked for a science class, you will notice that the life sciences are currently not in the schedule for summer because they did not feel that students could achieve the course objectives fully in the online modality right now for summer. And so the big cluster of science classes that we have are in chemistry. And there were quite a few questions about chemistry in the questions I received. So for chemistry labs, we are using two software programs to help with those lab activities that virtualize the lab experience. One is called Labster and the other is called Beyond Labs. Both work on the Chromebooks that were issued to students. And they're cloud-based, so nothing needs to be downloaded onto your individual computers. And so those are the software programs that will be used by the chemistry department in summer. And then there are a lot of questions about whether or not I would recommend somebody to take a chemistry class online. And I can't make that recommendation. So if you're in that boat, I would recommend that you consult with a counselor through Cranium Cafe to see what is in your best interest for success. And so I can't give advice globally like that. And then the last thing is, if I go back, I mentioned that all these converted classes that weren't originally planned to be online have their days and times listed. And so it's possible that if you take two courses, course A and course B, and course A says there's no live instruction and it's every day at 8 o'clock. Course B says that there's some live instruction every day, but you want to take both. If you have a conflict in that situation, because one has no live instruction, you can contact the admissions and records office through Cranium Cafe, and they'll be able to override the conflict as long as there's space in the class that you want to enroll in. We're trying to avoid that in the fall, and so as we get more details worked out, we'll have more information for how that will work in the fall semester. Next slide, please. And lastly, we have the fall classes. So the question is, will there be any in-person classes offered during the fall semester? In the fall, currently, the chairs, along with faculty, are working to put all the classes that can be done online, and those are being coded right now. But there are some classes that we know require some in-person contact for fall, and they're working to identify those. Faculty are currently having these broad district conversations as well as on-campus conversations about what really needs to be done in person and what can be done online. And if we're going online, what are the needs in order for us to go online? So I don't have a lot of information because your safety, this is our utmost concern. So we'll be working from guidance from the state and LA County Public Health Departments to help guide how we might be able to bring classes back in person with physical distancing considerations in mind in the fall. So initially, we'll be looking at things being online. And once they are online, they are online. They won't be coming back during the fall semester, even if we had originally planned for them to be in person. There were some questions about the cost for fall classes going online. And fall classes, the cost for the $46 per unit is set by the state. So the per unit cost does stay the same regardless if we're in person or face-to-face. There were questions about our PACE program and plans to expand the PACE program. And so the PACE program has different tracks. There are 2 tracks right now that align with our transfer partners that have PACE programs like Cal State Northridge and Cal State Dominguez Hills. So I'm sure that these are under consideration by that program as they work through their program review currently underway. We also had additional questions about nursing again, about applications to the nursing program. And there are various factors that are going to impact when we can start a new nursing class. Some of them have to do with our ability to meet our BRN regulations, the Board of Registered Nurses, our regulations in terms of meeting our clinical requirements, which is challenging for us right now, and we're starting to get some agreements in place. Also, we need to be able to graduate our current 4th semester students before we can take on more students. So we'll have to see what happens through the summer completing those clinicals. Prospective students can contact the nursing department at an email address. I'll put it in the chat later. I'll say it now, but it's lapc-nursing@laccd.edu. I'll enter that in the chat as soon as I stop talking. And I want to say one other thing about the fall classes that are going online. We are trying to avoid the scheduling conflict like we have in the summer, where we're keeping the stated days and times of classes that might create a conflict in registration. And so we're hoping to have a system in place that will allow students to register more easily if there's no required in-person, required live instruction for the class. So I know I spoke a little quickly. I want to give everybody else an opportunity to get through their information. So I'll take questions in the chat if there are still questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Berger. Now we're moving to the student services focused questions. Dr. Dixon Peters.
I am here. Thank you.
Ready.
Thank you. First of all, let me begin by saying thank you to the ASO and also President Montevergen for putting this together. I think it is critical that our students get a chance to ask us questions directly and also see the leadership of this college be able to respond to those questions. I know in difficult times and in difficult moments, in my experience, this oftentimes bring out the best of us. And I will wholeheartedly say that the Student Services Division and just the entire college has responded in a way that will serve our students to the best of our ability, but also bring us closer together as we meet these challenges. Now, as Vice President Berger stated, we are responding to some of the questions that were submitted prior to this forum, and some of the questions are on the slide that we wanted to directly address. So I will go through those things, but I, again, am a part of a team, and so I may be calling on some of my deans and some of the directors to go into detail of those questions. Before I start with that, though, I'd like to thank Dr. Astorga for expressing his way of how he practiced self-care. I did not know he blew bubbles. That's awesome. I like that. So I wanted to share that with how I do it too. So I play music. I get on my piano or pick up my guitar, and I play a couple of chords and really relax and zone out to what that sound looks like, to really detach myself from all the stress that is happening around us, not just for work, but also in our personal lives, and how we continue to find that place, that silent, that serenity place that we can really connect ourselves and get grounded. So I just wanted to share that with you all, because I think it's important that only you understand that in this time it's stressful for you all, that's stressful for our faculty and our staff and our administrators. And last thing, I want to really thank the Student Services Division and the teams and managers of this division to really get our services online. 100% of our services are online, and some of the questions that we received will hopefully address some of those. My explanation will hopefully address some of those questions. So the question was, how will a new student in this post-COVID-19 era affect the incoming process? I can tell you, we are committed to ensuring that our students are fully supported in this process. Yes, it is going to be a little bit different than what we did in person, but not much. All of our services, all of our areas of support will be available online to our students. They can access those services through our Premium Cafe. And also, in those areas, you will get distinct, direct information from those academic counselors or those professionals in those areas. The LACCD, the Los Angeles Community College District, has recently launched a MyPath tool for those students. It's a resource for those students to help them with the onboarding process. And so you'll be going through that process and helping you transition into the college. Again, students are able to connect online to our academic counselors through our live chat. They can schedule appointments. And then also the new students also will be guided through our first year experience program. And those students who are participating in our College Promise program, you'll be directly connected to those professionals in that area to help you transition to our college and matriculate into our system. The other one is, many questions about, I'm having trouble and challenges with online courses, what do I do? I think one of the areas it's important for you to understand, we have a variety of services that we can help you with. And having trouble with online courses may stem from different things. The transition for online is difficult for you. You don't know how to deal with that, or learning online is difficult for you, or the stress of this transition is difficult for you. We have academic counselors available for you to talk about those things. And also our Center for Academic Success is here to support you in terms of you having academic challenges within those classes. But I also would like to say to you, make sure you contact your faculty directly. That's important for them to understand what's going on with you and the challenges that you're faced with within that classes, so they can have an understanding and be empathetic and sympathetic to the needs in which our students are dealing with. So it's really important for you to connect with that faculty directly, and also seek out resources online through our student services areas. The other question, I've been trying to reach a faculty member. I'm having a hard time. There's no response. What do I do? We do have a complaint process established. And typically what the process is that you first try to reach your faculty member, has not responded. Then you can go to the chair of that department. Then after that, if there's no response and no resolution to there, you can go to the academic dean over that area to seek support. If that does not work, you can complete an online complaint process form that can be submitted to the academic vice president of students of academic affairs in that area, and they will be able to resolve and contact you to help you resolve those issues. If the same thing applies to the student services position or issue, you will be able to contact the supervisor in the area. If the supervisor is not available, you also can contact the dean over those areas. That information will be online, available to you to figure out who to contact. And then again, if there's no response at that level, you have an opportunity to complete a complaint form that will go to the Vice President of Student Services, which is myself. Next slide, please. I'm having trouble, difficult time contacting someone on Cranium. All of the areas should be able to support you in terms of their time, office hours online when someone's available. But if you're still having a difficult time contacting someone and you're noticing that no one is online, please feel free to contact my office, the Vice President of Student Services, at student services at piercecollege.edu. That email will come directly to my office, and if you're having a difficult time, we'll make sure that we'll get a response to you from one of our deans or one of our directors over that area. Again, if you're having some personal challenges in your classes, again, it's really important that you contact the faculty member directly to ensure that they understand what's happening. Again, if you're having trouble personally, if you're dealing with stress, we have a wonderful health center with some wonderful therapists that will help you resolve or explore some of those challenges that you're dealing with. Again, we realize that this transition is very difficult for a lot of us, and that sometimes the scaredness of the fear of going to a mental health therapist is there. We are here to help you. And that is, it should not be a stigma, negative stigma for you to go see a mental health professional. So we're here. We understand that stress is the #1 issue that is causing academic failure in a number of our students. And so therefore we have our mental health services available with hours using some technology that can help you get that support. I've been trying to get hold of my professor, taking a very long time. Again, I expressed that earlier today. Again, you need to follow the protocol in terms of contacting the chair of the department, the dean, and then you can fill out the complaint form and we'll get to the Vice President of Student Services or Academic Affairs. And this was a really important question that came up and really people understanding. So what's happening? I really can't adjust to this online environment. What are my options? Can I drop? The deadline date to drop is on May 10th. So that is Sunday. However, if you're still having trouble, students have the opportunity to petition to drop a course with the EW. So that is available at the Admissions and Records website. You can chat with a live person there that will guide you to that area to talk about ways in which you can drop. Now, if you are, again, the drop deadline date is May 10th with the W or EW, but however, students have the opportunity to petition to drop with the EW by just emailing the ANR or going to the live chat at the ANR website. Is that it for the slide? Yes. I want to say again, our services are available. We're here, open, 100% online for our service our students. It is important for you to really think about how you explore and engage in this process as you now move to a different modality of learning. We're here to help you, we're here to support you, and we're here to make sure that you are successful in completing your educational goals. Dr. Astorga?
Thank you, Dr. Peters. Now to talk about business continuity in bookstores, let me turn it over to Vice President Schleicher and Bruce Roski. Jeremy, can you unmute them, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Juan Carlos Astorga. Anyways, I want to thank you all for coming to such a day, inviting us to your ASO meeting. My division has been supporting you from the back end for quite some time. I've been here at the college for about 7 years. If you haven't met me before, I'm the VP of Admin Services here at the college. And what do we do in our area? I think it'd be important for you to hear. The areas you probably engage with most are the business office and the bookstores, but we cover a lot of other areas like the finance and the accounting, receiving areas, payroll, a lot of the back-end operations, but the biggest component is probably our plant facilities. When this pandemic impacted us recently, we had a lot of work to do. We'll share a little bit more about our planning on that after the session. But the goal is to really give you an understanding of what this division does to support you on a day-to-day here. And so what do we do in our division to kind of relax during these times of crisis? Most of us are really engaging with family and friends. Our biggest thrust is really to make sure that everybody can feel comfortable with the day-to-day as they transition to online and be in the home environment. We know your environment working from home is a little more challenging than it has been in the past. I have 2 sons that are in college, and the challenge for them is to try to make sure that they can stay focused on their studies. So I know all of you are trying to do that. Your accommodations at home sometimes can be quite challenging. So again, to decompress, you're gonna have to think about how you engage with your family and friends, or primarily your family or whoever you're living with, to make sure that environment's as conducive as it can be for studying, because I know many of you like our library facilities. The LLC is a great place to study and engage in. We don't have that open for you at this time. So we're doing our best to maintain the property during this time of the crisis. We've been in this pandemic for about 2 months now. We'll share a little bit more about what our structure is there. We do have some questions we want to go through that many of you have posed to us. So Bruce, if you could pull that up and we can take a look at some of those questions and try to answer those specific questions that are most meaningful to you. I think that'd be the most best use of our time at this point. Bruce,
I don't have anything that I can present at this time. However, there were 7 questions that were presented in response to our meeting today that I'm happy to read off to you with some responses. And as I talk about this, I just want to again thank all the students who have come today and for your efforts in working with the college during this rather challenging time and coordinating from on-ground to online, as well as all the faculty and staff who've been working to support the students in our efforts to stay on track toward our goal toward for your instructional goals this semester. So the first question I want to respond to is in reference to parking passes. So for students who have, and in preference of all of this, both on the Pierce College Business Office and the Pierce College Bookstore web pages, which is easily referenced if you go onto the Pierce College website and click on the student tab, there's a location that says bookstore and business office. All these, what I'm going to share with you today is also referenced on those pages in terms of responses to very similar questions that have been asked. But in reference to parking passes, if you've purchased a parking pass, this was a district-wide response. Refunds were provided for students who had already had a graduation paperwork in with the Office of Admissions and Records, meaning that this was going to be the last term on campus. If that was the case, those students, a special file was created and there was a refund issued to the student account for those students. All of the students who are currently holding a parking permit, the college will honor that parking permit the next time you're on campus taking on-ground classes. In reference to refunds, if you have converted to an EW and dropped your classes, the system is automated. And when the system picks up the fact that you as a student have an EW on your student account and your student record, it will go through an automatic process to refund to you the cost of whatever it is that you've dropped in terms of partial or all of your classes. If you have paid by credit card, that would show up as a credit on your credit card. If you paid in a different manner, it would show up on your bank mobile card. and it will be pushed out in that manner. If for some reason you have an existing fee liability already on your student account, that will be taken care of prior to pushing out any other refunds that are available to you. If you've rented a book and you're getting close to the end of the term and you want to know what to do, please visit the Pierce College Bookstore webpage. There's information on there in reference to what to do. In summary, what you'll be doing is you'll be contacting the Pierce College Bookstore, informing them that you'd like to return the book. They will email you a return ticket, and then that you'll be able to take that either to UPS or to a USPS and with your book, and be able to package it up to return to the college. The goal is to keep everybody safe, to keep students at home, and to keep faculty working as much and staff as much as possible in a safe environment. For new purchases for either summer term or for any other items that you'd like, such as caps and gowns, the Pierce College Bookstore has ability for you to purchase both of those online. We are currently trying to work with the faculty and selecting textbook resources that are available and more through an online format, which will eliminate the requirement for you to purchase online and have the bookstore ship. Currently, the bookstore is observing a no shipping fee policy. So for any items that you are purchasing through the bookstore, it'll be shipped to you at no cost. And from what I can recall, those were pretty much the questions that have come through already. Back to you, Juan Carlos.
Okay. Vice President Schleicher, President Montevirgen, is it okay if I put a pause on this? I'm getting a couple of questions specifically about commencement, and I wanted to have Dean Wilmar Molejo address commencement. Can I have your permission to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Jeremy, can you unmute Dean Wilmar Molejo, please? Dean Will, are you on the chat?
Yep, I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Dean Astorga. Commencement, we are having a ceremony on June 9th. That's a date that we had established for our in-person commencement prior to the COVID-19 epidemic. What we have done now in light of the situation is that we are going to have a virtual recognition for all of the students who've petitioned to graduate this year. We are committed to having an in-person commencement for you next year. We haven't established a date, but it would be in the spring of 2021. So that if you're around and you'd like to participate in an in-person ceremony, that's what we will be doing. In the meantime, this virtual commencement, what we're calling a virtual recognition, is going to be available to all students who submitted a petition to the graduation office. You will be getting an email either later today or this weekend with information on how to create a virtual card, a recognition card that would be displayed on the screen. We're going to be broadcasting at 6 p.m. Our commencement address. It is going to be in collaboration with our district office. The district office will have a keynote speaker. You'll hear from our chancellor and a few other dignitaries. And then it'll transition to just Pierce College. So all the students who have submitted a petition and want to participate, you'll be recognized during that portion of the ceremony. It's very important for you to keep an eye out for an email from Grad Images. They're the vendor that will be in touch with you so that you can create a virtual card. You'll have an opportunity as a student to submit a short 10-second video as well as your picture, so that we can go ahead and we can broadcast that on during our ceremony when we call your name. So it'll be an opportunity for you to see yourself and the other students who are graduating this year. It will be broadcast on YouTube and I believe also on Facebook, so you can invite your family and friends to watch the ceremony. So be on the lookout for that email. The turnaround is very short. We just got it approved by our district office. So for all of our students, you need to submit that information back to us by the I believe it's the 27th of May. I think that's it for now, Dean Astorga.
And for you graduates, we are incredibly proud of you. We want to celebrate the accomplishment. We know how much you worked and how hard you worked. A little plug and a side note, at this point in time, I need to remind you the campus is closed, so you can't just pop on over and take pictures in front of the bowl, okay? Please do not do that, not until we're able to reopen our campus. We just need you to be a little bit more patient with that. Rolf and President Montevirgen, if y'all can just touch upon COVID-19 response.
Sure, Dr. Montevirgen, you want me to start, or would you like to progress in there?
I'll go ahead and start it off. Just wanted, as I reintroduce the Vice President Schleicher, no, and as students, I think this is a lot of the details that we hope and we don't feel like we need to make sure that we bother you with, but what you need to know is that there have been 4 different teams that have been working behind the scenes around the clock these last 8 weeks to get us to where we're at, and so that we are able to do and offer what we are able to offer. So we're not going to go into all of those details because, again, what's most important for you, our students, is that you're able to be in those classes and that we need you focusing on your studies and focusing on your success. But we will spend time, is a little bit of time, asking Vice President Schleicher to go over the 4 different teams, and just so that you know, those 4 teams are focusing first and foremost on health and safety. They're focusing on the continuity of our business operations. They're focusing on the continuity of our student and academic operations. And then 4th, we've also had a specific team that has been working and bringing together all of the different communications. Because I know, and of course, we have not been perfect, but what we have been very intentional about is we've been, as much of the information that we've had to push out to you, know that we've tried to be very specific and not trying to, A, overwhelm you by just email. That's why that you'll see on the website that we've put a place where, because we know sometimes, and this even happens to me, I may get on any certain day 250 different emails. And so I know that that's why we have to, for example, design a place where you can hopefully go and where faculty and staff can hopefully go, so that that information is also there and that you don't have to look for it in your email. So there has been a team that has been working on trying to make sure that communications and important information, A, gets out to you, but gets out to you in ways that you're able to also be able to access it when you need. So again, those are the 4 main ways that we've had specific groups on campus, and I'll hand it over real quick to Dr. the Vice President Schleicher, so that he can go ahead and provide you with, again, a little bit more detail, although I know that for many of you, some of those details may not be as important as what we've already covered. So we would make sure that we're covering those urgent questions that you had first. Chief Schleicher?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Montevirgen. I appreciate that. Melina, if I could just pull this up real quickly, I'd like to show everybody at least the structure here, because for all these students have to realize this emergency impacted not just you, but the whole college. And we have a number of members that have contributed excessive time to making sure that we can support you in the ways that are required. If you allow me, I will pull it up now. You still have me disabled on there, and if you could untap that, I can bring that up. I do want to recognize these individuals, since what we've done under the EOC, which is Emergency Operations Center. That is what our district has, and underneath that we have what's called an ICC, an Incident Command Center, and within that we have 4 teams. So I wanted to pull that up and show it to you. For some reason, I'm having a bit of a challenge doing that, so here we go. I'll only just take a brief moment to share this with you. Hopefully everybody can see that. Thumbs up, yes? Okay, great. I do want to recognize individuals in here. The senior leadership is in the top section here under the management team. And this is what you normally have when you have an incident on the campus. How do you address it? This one's more pronounced than what we've had in the past, where our students were disrupted with fires in the summer sessions for 2 years in a row in recent history. This one's actually more involved and more challenging than ever, because it it requires a new modality of teaching, which is very difficult for many of our faculty who haven't taught online. And even those who have taught online, teaching all their courses online to all of you is a challenge. So I hope you can work with your faculty to get through some of the difficulties that you might have initially. But we've been in this planning mode for about 2 months under this ICC structure. And I just want to highlight a few key areas in here. We have our PIO, Doreen Clay, who's been very involved at the college level, trying to make sure communication is going out to all of you, not just through our emails, but also through our social media and our websites, and working with the IT department to make that happen. That also comes into effect of what we've come into, which is 4 different teams. And our first team is the health and safety, which is under Beth Benny and Rodney Allen. And all these individuals that are listed below have been contributors this whole time, helping out to make sure that we understand our facilities and how we maintain it, how we safeguard it, how we protect you when you were on the campus, and now that you're off and maybe visiting the campus, that we have checkpoints to make sure that we have students coming back in an appropriate way. And that's going to be more important for something I'm going to mention in just a moment. Moving to the next group. Well, I don't want to underemphasize our plant facilities folks who've been very instrumental in putting themselves in many cases in a very difficult position where they've had to deal with the coronavirus straight up in their areas, where we do have a lot of equipment here and PPEs that protect our employees and those of you that are coming to the campus, but we're doing a lot of sanitization of the campus. So I just want to let you know that we've been very fortunate at Pierce College that we haven't had one incident on the college. We've had a few of our students that have contracted the virus, and very few, but we are monitoring that through the EOC to make sure that your well-being is there. And we are fortunate enough to have what is many other colleges do not have, which is a health center that falls under the Student Services Division, but also supports the whole college. And Beth Benny is our resident director there, who's been instrumental in helping us understand this virus and the impact of it, and then guiding us in many ways through here. I also want to take a quick acknowledgement and recognize the Sheriff's Department too, that's done a really an outstanding job to make sure they've protected the campus and maintaining the property as best they can, considering that the public likes to come to our campus because it is really a community location that everyone values highly and wants to participate by walking our hills and coming through the campus. But at this particular time, we are actually shut down, not just for all of you, but even for the public. So that's been a challenge to manage, but they've done a very good job of that. The second group I want to emphasize, and you've heard a little bit about some of the people in there, is Bruce Roski and Sharon Dolmage, who's our AVP and our Dean in Academic Affairs, and all the individuals are listed beneath that. They've contributed their time to make sure that there's business continuity, the back end stuff that may not be that interesting to all of you, but it's kind of the glue that keeps it all working. So you heard from the 2 other vice presidents answering very specific questions to help guide you through it, but there's a lot of back end effort that happens, and they have a strong team that's considered the support structure as well that falls under Team C, which is headed up by Sherry Berger, Barbara Anderson, and Wendy Bass, and all the other contributors there who have been going through the bulk of the issues that are there, and really focusing now with the ICC on what we have, which is a reopening plan. When you hear reopening plan, there's basically 4 stages to that. Right now we're in stage 1. We're trying to push towards stage 2 and stage 3. In future conversations, we'll share specifically what that is, but there is a real framework that the district's working on to make sure that this opening plan works effectively. Our biggest concern is to be cautious and not create an exposure as you come back to the campus for the first classes that could not be put online and then have to be addressed so that you can complete your studies in those courses in this particular semester. And then the last group, which is the communications group, which is Juan Carlos and myself and Beth Benny, Marianne, and then all these other contributors, Will and Barbara, and the other 2 admins that have been helping out here, and Doreen Clay, and Eric has entertained a couple meetings with us too. All those individuals here are trying to make sure we get the right communications out, because remember, it's not just the faculty and staff that need information, the public needs information, but then all of you students. We know we have 20,000 students. You are our customers, you are highly valued to us. We want to be sure that we get communications out to you in a way that is digestible and meaningful, and that's why we also use the social media route. So that kind of gives you a context of what we have in terms of structure. I thought that was helpful to add. And the reason I wanted to emphasize a minute ago, maintaining the campus and the checkpoints, we were just notified recently that we're going to get another 300 Chromebooks, roughly about 318 Chromebooks for students that have been awarded those Chromebooks through the LACCD Foundation. The foundation was trying to ship those out to students, but many of our students do not have an accurate address for them to ship out with the vendor to get that done in a short period of time. So our goal is to ramp up very quickly and get those units here to the campus next week and set up a structure where we can hand those out to students that will come through a roundabout type of situation, pick up those Chromebooks. We know that there's more needs out there for our students. We're trying to make sure that on a weekly basis, we share that information with the EOC to let them know that there are higher demands. And we're doing our best to make sure that we can get Chromebooks that will be given to you as students and that you do not have to return it to us. We have to be careful about a gift of public funds because we do audit all our funding sources. And if we give you out of our general fund funds or some other program, laptops, or in this case, Chromebooks, we have to do a loan agreement with you. So our goal is to try to get those funded fully and provide those to you through the foundation so you don't have to return it. So that's something you'll hear about very shortly for those of you that are seeking to get your awards. We'll have those at the campus next week. And I think that's pretty critical for all of you to have that to complete your studies. I don't think there's anything else I want to go into too deeply here today. I just want to give you an understanding of all these participants. We have about 40 participants here on the campus that have done a horrific job of just really jumping in with both feet, making sure that they support in each area. Horrific meaning it's a lot of work, not that they've done a bad job, they've done a great job. But it's really a challenge when you have your day-to-day to do. We're all moving online. So the challenge has been not just for all of you, but all of us to make sure we're equipped appropriately. So again, going back to your workspace, it is a stressful environment. Try your best to decompress. We can't emphasize that enough. We do have some information on our website about steps that you can take to help safeguard your health, and your mental health is critically important to us as well. I know that from being at home with my two sons or taking classes. It's very difficult. Sometimes I'll tell them to go out and take a walk or go for a ride or something like that, just to kind of let the stress go. So we want to thank you all for being on the call with us today. I know there's more coming up here, but I just want to share with you this context of what we have in our planning, and it's not going away anytime soon. We'll be in the structure for quite some time, and our goal of having this ICC is to address immediate concerns that you might be encountering. So above and beyond what you normally get from all the great supervisors and employees that support you in a day-to-day, especially in academic affairs and student services, be aware that admin services has a lot of support people that are just as important, but they're behind the scenes and they're helping to get things accomplished for you. And we are proud to serve you, and thank you for allowing us to come to your meeting today.
Thank you, Ro. I wanted to take a moment to allow for some time for our president, ASO President Vivian Yee, to talk a little bit about what ASO is doing for our campus. And then I know we're running towards the end of our time, and then have closing words from our President Montevirgen. Vivian?
Hi, everybody. ASO has been just really trying to bring together our community, even through these virtual mediums. We've been trying to get people onto Instagram. We've been doing Instagram takeovers. We've been trying to get clubs together again. So we have clubs in our Canvas shells. And basically those people who are doing clubs are able to do club meetings through the Canvas, able to charter through the Canvas, hopefully later on. We've been having weekly meetings on how to combat this situation, how to help our students. We donated $15,000 to the campus to buy computers for our students, because we just really want to help you guys as much as we possibly can. Basically just trying to bring together this community, keep our student, life going, trying to get through this tough times, and we'll get through this together.
Thank you, President Yee. President Montevirgen, before you start, I just want to remind everybody, the questions that were posed to us today, we will be posting them on our Pierce College website. We will then send out a message on Blackboard to all of you to know where to find them. And then we definitely are interested in having another hosted town hall student forum, because there's going to be more questions and there's going to be more need for additional information. So we will get to that. There are other things that we weren't able to get to today. So including CARES Act funds, what do we do for undocumented student populations, things like that. So we definitely, we will host another one. So Dr. Montevirgen, if you can close us out.
Yes, and thank you. First of all, thank you, Dean Astorga. Thank you to our ASO, and thank you for having us and welcoming us into your space and allowing us to be able to share with you, again, just a glimpse into, and hopefully this is something I need to remind myself when I drive by the campus and see it all shut down and see nothing going on, that hopefully now what you've been able to see is that even though the campus is empty, there is still so much work that is being done, amazing work that is being done by you, our students, to continue with your studies, by our faculty to continue teaching courses online, by our staff to make sure that all of the things that in terms of financial aid, in terms of admissions, in terms of our technology, you know, how much bandwidth it requires in order for everyone to still be able to appear on Zoom and to be able to have a connection. I know there are times where I go in and out in terms of internet connections, but the amount of staff and the amount of work that goes behind being able to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place. So again, I want to thank you all for participating in this. Yes, we will continue to have more of these as we continue into the situation and as we transition slowly now into this recovery phase. And what I've told the campus several times in other opportunities is that while I don't believe we will ever go back to our old normal, we will be creating together as a Pierce College community a new normal, and hopefully an even better normal, where we will be able to grow and learn from what are the good things that are happening from this situation? What are the positive ways that we can continue moving forward as a campus, and that will be the new normal that we will be creating together as a campus. And so again, I wish you all a very good weekend. And to all of the mothers out there and to all of you, please make sure that you take the opportunity. This is your friendly reminder that Sunday is Mother's Day. So if you haven't ordered any of your flowers yet or made that special arrangements to make sure that your moms and our moms are valued and feel, again, this is from me, a happy Mother's Day to everyone that is out there and to you and your loved ones. Enjoy the weekend. Again, we have another month left in terms of the academic year, so the academic semester. So please continue with your studies. Continue letting us know how we can help you and that we are here for you, and take advantage of the services that we have and that are available to you. And yes, go Brahmas. I have never been prouder to be a Brahma and to be leading Pierce College than especially today. And I think what for me has been so rewarding about today is that to see our students, because you all are the reason why we continue to do the work that we do. It's to see, and even if it's virtually, to watch that virtual recognition ceremony that will be taking place at 6 p.m. on June 9th, and to know all of the successes that you all are doing. I'm not sure if he's on today, but just an additional shout out. One of you students, one of your very own, Juan Carlos Kyle Becerra, has received and is the recipient, one of 50 in the nation. Again, let me repeat that. One of 50 nationally to be recognized as a Jack Kent Cook Scholar, transfer scholar. So again, I know Kyle is not unique, and that there are many of you that are out there that are having those achievements, and know that we continue to celebrate you. We continue to do this for you, and that's why we are here at Pierce College. So again, thank you all and have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody. You have a good weekend. Bye-bye now. Jeremy, go ahead and turn it off.